I'm Jeff Schwartz of Schwartz Performance. This is our March 2018 update. Let's check out what we got going on in the shop this month. We got our G-Machine chassis in the 59 Impala here, along with the previously installed LT1 engine and 6-speed. We're now at the point of putting some different seats in it. The owner wanted some shoulder harnesses that were integrated into the seat, so we've got some BMW seats that we're fitting into there now. Those will get reupholstered to match the rest of the interior, and then we should be pretty much wrapped up. As promised last month, we got our Recaro seats in for this 71 Cuda. We don't have the forged line wheels yet, however, they should be arriving any day. Here's another Mustang chassis getting ready to ship out. This one's got a Shelby GT500 engine in, the supercharged one with 663 horsepower, is it? Something like that. Anyway, giant engine, lots of horsepower. Going in an early Mustang, this thing's going to be crazy. The Raybestos truck here is all done, and I wanted to point out some of the subtle customizations that we did to this truck. Generally, we like to keep the vehicles fairly stock looking because the stylists back then, they really had it going on as far as styling. So we don't really like to alter things a lot, although we're capable of doing anything the mind can imagine, chopping tops, stretching cabs, all that kind of thing. We generally choose to remain fairly stock and do subtle modifications just to clean it up a bit. So in the case of this truck, it's got our G-Machine chassis under there, and we've lowered it quite a lot from original ride height. So consequently, the bumpers, usually the bumper brackets step down, and the bumper is quite a ways away from the tailgate, hanging down like around here. Obviously with stock ride height, that bumper is pretty close to this height, and the actual truck is quite a lot higher. So what we had to do is we cut and modified these factory bumper brackets to bring the bumper up closer to the bottom of the bed here. It just gives it a better look, and with this lowered ride height, it actually gives you better crash protection. The other thing we've done is license plates are usually hanging way out off the side here, and we tuck that in underneath the tailgate. We still get light from the license plate light to illuminate that. And then we've done LEDs inside these factory taillight housings. Normally on a pickup truck like this, you'd see chains hanging off here with a hook to close the tailgate. And we've eliminated that as well. And then on the back here, this tube is normally open. It's just a curled piece of metal, and we closed it off and TIG welded that shut and then smoothed it out for a cleaner look. Let me show you these tailgate latches we've got. We've integrated them into the tailgate itself, and they've got spring-loaded buttons. You just pull them together, and just like that. We've got a nylon strap here to support the bed along with stainless screws. There's a rubber grommet in there, and to close it, you just wheel it up like that, and the spring-loader latches go right inside there. Also, the factory had these large holes along the bed sides for putting stakes. Farmers would put stakes as high as they wanted to haul more cargo, and we've eliminated that because we're not really going to haul cargo piled to the roof. So that's been welded in with pieces of metal and smoothed completely. Inside here, we've got 12-inch wide forge lines with 335 BFG Rival S tires. So it needed a little more room, so we added this mini tub here. Those were all cut and fitted to the bedside, TIG welded, and then body worked and painted. Obviously, we still had to modify the bed wood and the stainless steel strip a bit to fit it in there, and it gives it a nice clean look and has room for the wider rubber. We also have oak in here that's been stained and clear coated along with the stainless steel strips. And then normally this truck has the gas tank inside the cab. So what we've done is we've actually moved the gas tank roughly in this area, and then we have our filler cap right here near the back of the bed. It's a stainless steel tank from Rock Valley, and it's got an internal EFI pump for the GMLT series engine that's in there. Moving around to the front, we've got these Raybestos three-dimensional emblems that we machined here, and this was several days of programming and CNC machining. They're carved out of billet aluminum. A very small cutter was required to get the detail, and multiple very fine cuts. So they've got the little ribs on the bottom like the factory Chevrolet had here, but since this is a giveaway vehicle for Raybestos, we've got their logo right on the side here. Other than that, everything is just lowered with the forge lines and the big Raybestos brakes, and gives it a real nice clean look with a few subtle mods. So pretty happy with the end result. So the big black Chevelle with all the lightweight components that I was telling you about last month, here it is in the flesh, painted bright yellow. This has a lot of carbon fiber bits, including the deck lid and the hood, but this is where we inlaid carbon fiber into the area ahead of the deck lid so that we had the raw carbon fiber stripe matching all the way through the car. So the deck lid is complete carbon top and bottom, and then this has been masked off to expose the carbon fiber. Many coats of clear on there, wet sanded and polished, but gives it a real nice look. Shows off that you have some carbon components rather than just painting them. And we've got the center lock forge lines down there, the stripe on the hood, and it's looking pretty sweet. This 49 Ford F1 panel truck has our Schwartz G-Machine chassis and a Coyote engine in it. It wasn't built here, but the owner wanted us to do some additional work on it rather than transport it back to the shop that built it several states away. So we're helping them out, getting all this laundry list of stuff wrapped up, and should be ready to rock and roll here pretty shortly. This is that Superbee we've been working on. We've got our modern Hemi in there, our Schwartz G-Machine chassis, and we're fabricating headers. The right side header is completely done, and the left side header has been completely mocked up, and we just got to final TIG weld that, and then the header should be done. Unfortunately, when you do these late model motor swaps in these older cars, the manifolds off of the new engine very often don't fit the body of the old one. So in this case, and in most cases, you have to fabricate headers. So that's what we're doing here, and then we got to do the exhaust system. It's a bit of a challenge on this car because it's got independent rear suspension, so there's a little more complexity to fabricating the exhaust system. But as it stands right now, we're nearly done with the headers, and then we'll move on to the exhaust system. Many customers buy G-Machine chassis from us and would like us to install them for them. So we're happy to do that, along with any type of rust repair or any other work that they may not be comfortable with or not have enough time to do. So in this case, this 70 Chevelle came in and there was some rust related issues. So we've replaced the entire trunk floor, the entire floor pan inside the car, and then we've smoothed the firewall so that he can have a vintage air mounted inside the cockpit, and it'll look nice and clean under here. So we've got our G-Machine chassis installed, we've done the rust repair, and we're gonna mock up a T56 Magnum and a big block in here, and modify the tunnel to fit that T56, and then it should be going home. We've made a lot of progress on this 67 Mustang Eleanor clone. We've got all of our screening made up for the grille and the scoops on the side. We've done some more fitting on our fiberglass parts to the metal pieces here. We've got the ground effects. We're working on some fiberglass work to get the ground effects blended into the lower fenders. We've fitted our chrome trim around the windows and got those gapped real nicely so they'll fit nicely along the metal after the car's painted. We've even figured out how to run our exhaust system out the side, and are making close-off panels here. We've got our power steering reservoir mounted, got our air intake tube, you get the air filter back there. Just a lot of detail work on this has been completed, so real happy with the progress on this one. On this 72 AMX, we had brushed aluminum rocker trim on it from the factory. So once we pulled that off, we discovered that this thing had been, you know, caved in here in the rocker quite a lot. So we had to put a new rocker in it just to make it proper. And upon cutting this rocker off, we found that there was mice had developed a nest inside there, and the metal was real thin along the bottom from the urination that took place inside there. So I'm really glad that it was caved in, because it prompted us to cut everything off there and actually discover this hidden problem. So we've got our new rocker all fitted up there. We still need to straighten out the fender that's got a little bent. But when you have an old car like this, it's been in storage for a bunch of years, you really got to look closely, because things like that can, you know, surprise you. In this case, we had a Southern car that had been, you know, in the desert most of its life, and then stored in Missouri indoors. But obviously the rodents found their way in there and potentially ruined this rocker here. We even have like mud wasp nest in the door there. I can see it right from here. But anyway, look at that stuff closely when you're trying to find a project car. Anyway, this is now solid as a rock, and then we also did another patch on the this side of the quarter panel. Both sides had some moisture that was trapped in there inside the trunk, probably from rags or something laying up against the side of this, and it rusted a little bit. It was really weak, so rather than take a chance, we just cut it out and put a piece of metal in there, and should be ready to go to Media Blast in here shortly and get her painted up this Trans Am red color. That's all for this month, folks. Be sure and check us out on Facebook, and also check out our latest project updates on schwartzperformance.com under projects.